Hello friends, it's me, and today let's watch Game Theory, the biggest twist in GTA 6 from the Game Theorists. Together, let's go, let's start. Thank you.
We were right about GTA 6. We were also wrong about GTA 6. But now, thanks to this new trailer, we not only understand what is going to happen in the 30+ hour story, we also know why it's happening. Hello Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, and can you believe it? We got another GTA 6 theory before GTA 6. I know, crazy times. But I guess that's what happens when you delay your game until 2026. However...
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching. Jokes aside, it should be, hello Internet, welcome to Game Theory.
Not all is lost, loyal theorists, because in what feels like a make-good, Rockstar released a brand new trailer for the game. Once again, it looks gorgeous. Once again, the music is on point. And once again, it's chock full of sweet, juicy lore. That's right, just like the first trailer, this new video is trying desperately to tell us what the new story is going to be about. And I don't mean the story that the website is telling us is going to happen. I mean the true story. The twists and turns that are going to happen along the way. And it's all hiding in plain sight. From the obvious dialogue shown to the not so obvious symbolism hiding in every song, shirt, and tattoo. And from the looks of it, we may have been right with our previous prediction. We also may have been wrong about a few things too. But ultimately, the big reveal of this trailer isn't about the what of this game's twist, it's the why. So hop in, friends, we've got a trailer to decipher. Let's start with what's new in this trailer. The main thing I noticed this time around is while we're still focusing a lot on our lead characters, Lucia and Jason, we're also getting a lot more focus on the actual world of Vice City is GTA's version of Miami, but if my accent didn't give it away, I'm not American, and based on our recent charity stream, clearly I've still got a lot to learn about this country's culture and references.
In 1961, the US had a major military flop. What was it called? And where was it?
Tom's answer was Civil War II Electric Boogaloo.
And so, in order to fully understand what I was looking at, I had to swallow my pride and... ask our resident Miamian, Santi. No, you're not getting any more lines. You already interrupted me last week. As you may have
Alright, that is Santi from the Food Theorists. Hi Santi.
expected, there are a lot of small details, like this jersey that is a play off the Miami Dolphins, now being the Vice City Manatees. There's more parody beer brands than you can shake a stick at, and there's this strip club called the 919, which Santi tells me is a play off the Miami strip club 11. You know, not that he's ever been there to know firsthand, obviously. But those are all just fun Easter eggs. The real interesting stuff is the stuff that looks like an Easter egg, but actually means a heck of a lot more. Like at 232, where we get this shot that appears to be showing us the Venetian Islands. However, we also see an area that looks a lot like Key Largo and the Everglades, which geographically aren't really connected at all. It would take you over an hour to get from one to the other. Now, obviously, this is likely due to map constraints. While we expect GTA 6 to be massive, it can't be a one-to-one replica of Miami. Could you imagine having to drive an hour every time you got a mission on the other side of the map? I hate driving an hour anywhere in real life. I don't need it in my video games too. However, this change not only affects the gameplay, it also has story implications. See, the Venetian Islands are considered to be a very upscale area, whereas the Everglades are considered to be, less so. By putting these areas closer together, we're getting a sense of the journey our heroes are trying to go on. At the very start of the trailer, we see Jason's house in what appears to be the more Everglades location, and that his roof has a leak. They are starting at rock bottom. But as Lucia says later on,
this place is just the start for us.
Their goal is to cross that threshold and rise to the top. The ones seen
Starting from the bottom, now we're here.
as the lower class of society mingling with the upper crust. We even see this goal in the type of heists they're doing. In the first trailer, they were just stealing from convenience stores in more rundown areas. But in this trailer, we're seeing a full-on bank heist. They're constantly going to be aiming for bigger and better, rising up in order to have the life they've always wanted. Much earlier in the trailer, we also saw this wall showing off a bunch of impressive looking artwork, but it also stood out as odd. Reason being, this isn't just just any symbol. This is the symbol of the Haitian flag, and it's accompanied by real Haitian Creole phrases like "for flag on high," "for native land," which comes from the Haitian national anthem. That is odd to see because, as we've discussed, Rockstar purposefully changes the names and iconography of locations to be similar but distinctly different from the real world. But for this one, they left it the same. To me, that implies there's something important about using the real world place for the world they're trying to build. This type of artwork is not uncommon to see in Miami, especially in the area known as Little Haiti. This area came about when there was a mass wave of Haitian immigrants coming to Miami in the 1970s. This transformed the area into a vibrant cultural hub. But sadly, it's also become an area of lower socioeconomic status, leading to a lot of tensions in recent years. Areas around Little Haiti have slowly been gentrified, with wealthy people and businesses moving in and developing the area, leading to costs going up and the loss of cultural diversity. Little Haiti currently stands as one of the last bastions against this. Hence the bold sense of national pride we're seeing painted on the walls here. It's about not forgetting who you are and where you come from, and not backing down when your dreams or way of life are being threatened. Something that the GTA 6 website makes clear is of huge importance to Lucia. This disparity in socioeconomic status and gentrification has also sadly outworked itself as tension between the Haitians living there and the police force. This is something you might just expect from GTA at this point, similar to what we covered in our GTA 5 video years ago, but I do think it's going to play a part in the story going forward as well. Once again,
Alright, look, I come from Singapore, and there are four languages, main languages in Singapore. Alright, there's English language, which is our common language, Chinese Mandarin, Malay language, and Tamil. Tamil language, Malay language, Chinese Mandarin language, and English language. These four main languages, and also we have 四大种族, the four majority race, and we live together with each other. Segregation isn't that. Yeah. Living together in peace and harmony, coexistence. I grew up in. It's good. It's good.
According to Santi, who, if you didn't know, is Argentinian, minority groups like Haitians in Little Haiti and Miami in general tend to have strong connections and relationships with other minority groups, like, for example, the Latin American community. And while nothing has officially been stated based on her last name, her accent, and general appearance, Lucia does seem to be of Latin American descent. These storylines of gentrification, police tension, and minority culture are likely going to be a primary focus. Maybe the reason we're seeing the Everglades and the Venetian Islands so close together isn't just map limitations, but it's a way of showing that gentrification, that the lower socioeconomic areas and people are being pushed out of their homes. And so part of Lucia's goal is to essentially infiltrate that world and take back what is theirs, working with other minority groups that are facing the same hardships, fighting for, as the wall art says, liberty, equality, and fraternity. But speaking of Lucia,
So let's be honest with each other, the leadership in that city needs to have a different mindset. That instead of separating these groups apart, make them coexist properly. Let them have a bigger, respect each other's culture, respect each other's identity, yes, but also have a proper shared core. For Singapore, look, my ethnicity is Chinese, but my nationality is Singaporean. I'm Humdrum Singaporean. Yeah.
and Jason, we get to see a lot more about their relationship this time around. When Jason is starting out on his own, we see his car parked up in front of his house with the Vapid logo on the back. Vapid is a car brand within the GTA world, so it's not an uncommon sight, but given its placement in this scene right at the start of the trailer, it also speaks of Jason's current mentality. The word vapid means to offer nothing that is stimulating or challenging. When he is spoken to, he clearly has no motivation to do actual work. His hair also isn't cut short as we usually usually see it. It's unkept and unruly. Without Lucia, he is lost. As we see him driving around, various songs play, and much like last time, they too hold specific meanings. You can find hidden meaning in music anywhere, especially at our sister location, Lo-Fi. And this isn't just me trying to slip our narrative-based lo-fi project into the script. I listen to Lo-Fi whenever I'm researching or writing scripts because it's just that good. We've launched 3 new streams earlier this year for studying, gaming, and sleeping, so whatever you're doing, you can have the calming sounds of Lo-Fi back you up. It's available on Spotify and Apple Music, with new music dropping every single Monday. But for all of you lore lovers that I know are definitely watching this part of the video, we've just dropped something new and very exciting, especially for you. We're now releasing animatics every other week, and they are filled to the brim of Taylor's beanie with juicy lore. If you look close enough, that is. There's already 2 over on the channel, so once you're done here, go and check them out and let me know what you find. Links will be in the description. But back to the songs in the GTA trailer. We get songs like Talking to Myself by Tammy Wynette and Everybody Have Fun Tonight by Wang Chung, both songs that focus on being alone and missing the love the other person provided you. The final song of the trailer, once Lucia and Jason are reunited, is Hot Together by the Pointer Sisters, which, as the name implies, talks about how hot they are together. It's a fiery, passionate relationship that brings life back to Jason, which ties into what the website tells us about the story, saying that they are forced to rely on each other more than ever. However, last time, based on what we had, we suspected, despite this sense of longing and desire to stick together, there was trouble brewing in paradise. We went through the evidence presented by the internet that Jason was an undercover cop, which we ultimately decided was a really cool idea, but the evidence just wasn't quite as clean as it first appeared. But we did predict that the twist villain was actually going to be Lucia. This was based off of the state seal that we saw in the background of one of the shots. It showed a Garden of Eden-like scene with a snake deceiving a woman who was looking out to the horizon, just as Lucia was looking out for more in life. And the boy next to her is being eaten by a crocodile while she did nothing, like we suspect will happen with Jason. So, what does this trailer change about that initial theory? Well, it seems that despite the evidence not stacking up, the idea that Jason is a cop was actually heading in the right direction. Somewhat. When going to pick up Lucia from prison, the prison guard asks Jason,
I think you heard before.
Jason keeps his answer vague, which could be interpreted as him just trying to keep a low profile because he was a former prisoner himself. But it could also be because he's undercover and doesn't want to draw attention to himself. And I personally lean towards the latter. In another part of the trailer, we see others accusing Jason of being a Fed.
Yo, D, this full of fed?
And then we get this scene of another cop saying,
Us cops, we gotta protect each other.
The important thing to note here is that this scene is not body cam footage like the stuff we saw in the first trailer. This scene is in person, which would imply that one of our lead characters is likely present. It would feel odd if we were getting this secretive meeting scene when it doesn't involve any of our main characters as witnesses in some way. And although we never see the face of the man being spoken to, we do see the back of his head, and his hair is long and unkempt, much like we saw Jason sporting at the start of the trailer. If that's the case, then the "we cops" line would once again be inferring that Jason is indeed an undercover cop, or at the very least, some kind of informant. We see him wearing a blue jumpsuit that could be an alternative prison uniform, because unlike what you see on TV, not every prison uses bright orange uniforms. So regardless of which it is, we're also being shown that those same police officers are definitely going to turn on Jason, and that's for 2 symbolic reasons. Firstly, in the scene right before "we cops gotta protect each other," we see the same officers raiding a building, and as they bust in, we see that one of the officers has a large tattoo of a red monster on his shoulder. This is actually a depiction of a Japanese yokai known as an Oni. These things are demonic beings that in folklore have the ability to shapeshift in order to deceive their victims, sometimes offering good fortune and wealth, but ultimately it ends in the victim's own demise. This being on the arm of one of the cops who is likely working with Jason adds to this idea that he's supposed to be an informant, someone who is offered wealth and prosperity as part of of a deal in order that he could get the life that Lucia wants, but ultimately it was all a trick, and they lapse on that promise, turning on Jason and causing him and Lucia to be on the run. But the second piece of symbolism comes from the very first scene in the trailer. Once Jason gets off the roof and we see his impressive physique, which I'm totally not jealous of, we also get to see his very impressive tattoo. It's a bird with an arrow sticking through it, which at first may just seem like a cool piece of art, but much like everything in these trailers, it too has a deeper meaning. It's a reference to a famous piece of imagery, the eagle wounded by an arrow, which originated from ancient Greek fables. It was meant to be a symbol of misery, a warning against being prideful. The eagle that was bold enough to get that close in order to be shot by an arrow has no other choice but to recognize that it is the one that contributed to its own injury. In a later scene, Jason is shown wearing a shirt with an eagle on its back. He is being depicted as the bird, a free animal, but one whose own pride will ultimately get in the way and lead to his own demise. But in one famous rendition of the eagle wounded by an arrow made by Anne-Louis Giraudet, there's another animal present, a large snake crawling towards the dying bird. As we spoke about last time with the state seal of Leonida, snakes have symbolic ties to being a deceiver. In the Garden of Eden, the devil transformed into a snake to deceive Eve, much like the Oni do. So in this context, the snake is another representation of the police. Jason's hubris will cause his own downfall, but it is intrinsically tied to the snake in the grass that is the police, who are going to take him down. And the snake imagery does—
Wow, that is deep. That is very deep. All the symbolisms involved. It's wow. Wow.
doesn't stop there either. Inside Jason and Lucia's home, they have a pet snake, which is a symbol of how they're never quite alone. It's the two of them plus the police. They are always going to be a part of their lives. Although, as we suggested last time, this may not be entirely down to Jason. When Jason goes to collect Lucia from prison, she is wearing a shirt that says, I went down on the Leviathan. The Leviathan is a serpent-like demon referenced in the Hebrew Bible. It is the embodiment of chaos and threatens to eat the damned, which sounds just like what we've been saying about the snake eating the wounded eagle, the police devouring Jason, the criminal. But the main point is that Lucia's shirt is practically screaming at us directly to our faces that she is in bed with the serpent, which lines up with what the website is now telling us, quote, more than anything, Lucia wants the good life her mum has dreamed of. Lucia's committed to her plan, no matter what it takes, even siding with the very people trying to destroy her. However, while that would suggest we were right about Lucia's inevitable betrayal, the thing we neglected to mention last time was why? Why would Lucia betray Jason? And more importantly, why would she betray Jason by going to the cops? The people that Jason was colluding with to begin with that got them into this mess. I believe the trailer also gives us an answer for that too. And while the website makes it seem like it could just be for her own selfish ambition, I believe it's actually the complete opposite. She wants a better life for both her and someone else that's very important to her, or at least is going to be. And no, it's not Jason. Lucia is pregnant. I know, that feels like a humongous swing. And there's even a shot in the trailer showing them both drinking, but hear me out. The thing that first tipped me off in this direction was this shot right here. It's a close-up of Jason rubbing Lucia's stomach. Now, we're shown a number of times in this trailer how intimate these guys are. It practically feels like they'll take any excuse to get it on. And if this was just a regular wide shot like any of the others and his hand just...
Alright, to be fair, okay, I can't say much. Let's keep this wholesome and very friendly. Thank you so much.
happened to move there, I'd have just written it off as part of that intimacy. But that's not what Rockstar did. They zoomed in. They showed it to us up close in 4K. They are showing us it's an important action that we need to pay attention to. And the main reason that anyone rubs someone else's stomach like that in a piece of media is to symbolize that there is something of importance there, a child. Plus, with them going at it so much, I wouldn't be at all surprised if she gets pregnant midway through the story, allowing allowing her to be drinking at the start of the game where this other shot could be from. There's also the clues we get in another one of the songs we hear in this trailer. Right at the start, as Jason begins driving through town, we hear a song that isn't in English, but in Haitian Creole. There's that connection coming up again. And the song is called Child Support. Initially, I just lumped this song in with all the others from that opening segment. It mentioned someone being in prison, so I assumed it was just part of Jason's I Miss You mixtape. Does anyone even know what a mixtape is these days? Does Jason even know what a mixtape is? Would he be listening to a Spotify playlist? I don't know. But as I went through and translated more of the lyrics, I realized it was far more important. Now, translations do vary depending on the source, so I won't be quoting any direct lyrics. But the basic gist is it's about a guy who's been put in prison, and he specifically blames his partner for doing so, because the US apparently protects women more than men like him, even though she is the one causing all the problems. And as a result of the betrayal he supposedly caused that landed him in jail, she refuses to let him be part of the child's life. Sounds to me like the story we've been predicting so far, where Jason's betrayal leads to Lucia betraying him right back with the snakes, who are more willing to protect her than him. He'll be caught and sent to prison while Lucia has the baby and will reap the rewards of Jason's hard work, and then refusing to let him be a part of their lives because of what he did. Although GTA is no stranger to multiple endings, so there's always a chance that despite the twists and turns and betrayals upon betrayals, we still get our third act climax and resolution where they both make out like bandits and live happily ever after with their new family. But I guess we'll just have to wait until 2026 to find out.
Next year.
In the meantime, remember, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching. World premiere on Game Theory.
I'm gonna prove to you that I know the plot a full 2 years before this game actually releases.
2 years before. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Thank you so much. Subscribe. Thank you. Thanks so much.